An opportunity now in Cleveland with a quarterback situation that, honestly, he can come out of and win the job. I think he'll do well. I really do. I think the kid works really hard. I think he loves the game of ball. And when it comes down to it, if you have a guy like that loves the game, obviously grown up around it his whole life, I think he'll be successful.
He has a tremendous luxury to change plays at the line of scrimmage and what he sees. But you got to take into account that this kid has started every game in his high school career. This kid has started every game in his college career but one. He's seen a lot of football. So it's not too many complex defenses that you could throw at him that he hadn't seen. He's seen all of them.
What happened behind the scenes in Miami last week left NFL scouts, general managers, and team owners completely shocked. Shedeur Sanders put on a performance that was so sharp, so precise, that even the most experienced talent evaluators, people who've been doing this for decades, are now second-guessing everything they thought they knew about quarterback play. The buzz started quietly on Tuesday. By Friday, it was all anyone in football circles could talk about. And now it makes total sense why Deion Sanders has been so confident about his son's NFL future. What you're about to hear could seriously shift the way you see the 2025 NFL Draft. But before getting into the details of that private session, take a second to think about this. How many times have we seen quarterbacks hyped up only to fall apart under real pressure? How often do college stars shine in the NCAA but fold when they step into the NFL's high-stakes environment? The league's history is full of QBs who looked unstoppable in college but couldn't cut it at the next level. That's exactly why what Shedeur did last week is so unbelievable. This wasn't a flashy highlight reel against weak college defenses. It wasn't a carefully edited clip designed to go viral. This was a real, high-stakes NFL-style workout, with all the pressure you can imagine. Here's what we know. About 3 weeks ago, word started to get around that Shedeur had scheduled a private workout in Miami. But this wasn't just any workout. It took place at a top-tier training facility, the kind of place where legends like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers go during the offseason to sharpen their skills. It's a spot known for its privacy and intensity, far away from media noise. But here's where things got really serious. Shedeur didn't just bring in a few position coaches or local scouts. He invited the big names, the harshest critics. These were evaluators who don't get impressed by flashy stats or famous families. Think former NFL defensive coordinators who've built entire careers on shutting down elite QBs. Think scouts who've analyzed everyone from Peyton Manning to Patrick Mahomes. And they all showed up. Every one of them. Inside the facility, the vibe was intense. 15 NFL decision makers, execs, scouts, and coaches were spread across the field. Clipboards out, stopwatches ticking, no smiles, no reactions. Just stone-faced pros who don't hand out compliments lightly. Then Shedeur walked onto the field. No hype, no background music, no cameras trying to catch a viral moment. Just him, carrying the weight of his family name and the hopes of Colorado fans everywhere. The place went silent. And what followed? That's when everything changed.
I think he's done a great job. He's a super nice kid. Those guys, the people I work with that interview him and stuff, he's a great guy. He's just got to, he's got to kind of put himself under the radar and work every day, which he seems to be doing.
The first drill looked pretty basic on the surface. 40-yard throws to stationary targets. Seems simple, right? Not exactly. These weren't college-level wideouts standing out there. They brought in former NFL receivers, guys who really understand how to create separation and run routes with pro-level precision. These are the kinds of receivers who can truly expose whether a quarterback has what it takes or not. Shedeur steps up to the line. First throw. Absolute laser. 40 yards, fast and clean. Tight spiral, right on target. Hits the receiver perfectly in stride. Scouts glance at each other, but no reactions yet. They've seen strong arms before. Then comes the second throw. Still 40 yards, but now it's a comeback route. Way more challenging. The timing has to be spot on. The throw needs to be out before the receiver even makes his cut. Shedeur doesn't just hit the pass. He reads it ahead of time, releasing the ball before the receiver even turns. When the ball lands right in the receiver's chest, just as he comes out of the break, even some of the veteran coaches are caught off guard. One scout literally drops his clipboard. And that was just the warm-up. The real challenge came next. Game simulation. Imagine this. A mock defense made up of former NFL players. Not fringe guys, but legit starters from just a couple of seasons ago. These defenders know how to bait quarterbacks, disguise their coverage, and turn up the pressure. Here's the setup. 2-minute drill, down 6 points, 85 yards to go, no timeouts. It's the kind of pressure that usually breaks college quarterbacks and separates the real ones from the hype. Shedeur lines up under center. The defense shows one look, but you can tell something's coming. There's a shift about to happen. Classic disguise to force confusion. As soon as the ball is snapped, the coverage rotates, just like expected. Most young QBs would freeze, panic, or try to force something risky, but not Shedeur. He steps up into the pocket with the kind of calm you see from seasoned pros. Eyes downfield the entire time. Then, he sees it. A tiny window, open for maybe half a second. A slot receiver breaking on a dig route, the linebacker trailing just behind. That window is so tight most college QBs wouldn't even attempt it. But Shedeur doesn't hesitate. He fires a strike right between two defenders, hitting his receiver in perfect stride. The linebacker stops mid-step, stunned. The safety trying to rotate over just shakes his head, like he can't believe what he just saw. The scouts lean in. They know they're watching something rare. And the best part? This was only the beginning.
Incredibly accurate.
Yes.
He really understands not only offensive football, but he understands what you're doing as a defense, so he'll pick you apart that way. He processes quickly. Like, all those things to me are big-time attributes. And I just remember last year at this time, Bo Nix falling. People saying, hey, Bo Nix is going to be a second-rounder, and Bo Nix is not. By the way, that guy was one of the best.
But now they can't have him. The same people responsible for his slide in the draft are the ones scrambling. They called him cocky, arrogant, threw every label at him, hoping it would break him. But through it all, Shedeur stayed cool. He didn't let the noise shake him or throw him off course. His mindset never wavered. He knew exactly what he brought to the table, and no amount of criticism was going to change that. Instead of folding under the pressure, he locked in even more. Their doubt didn't shake him. It fueled him, because deep down, he knew that what he showed on that field wasn't some lucky moment. It was real. It was proof of who he is and what he's capable of becoming. And now, those same scouts are left second-guessing everything. They thought they had him figured out. But what they saw last week flipped their entire evaluation on its head. At first, they saw attitude. They saw confidence and labeled it arrogance. They judged him before really watching him. But Shedeur didn't let it affect him. Instead, he showed exactly who he is when the lights are the brightest. And now those same scouts, the ones who once questioned if he had what it takes, are sitting in silence, unsure of what they just witnessed. His performance is making waves, and suddenly their early opinions are starting to look shaky. They didn't just see a strong-armed college quarterback out there. They saw a leader, calm, smart, in total control. The more his confidence grows, the better he gets. And now, they're starting to realize they might have missed something big. What they once brushed off as ego now looks more like confidence that can't be rattled. And his ability to shine under pressure is forcing a lot of people to rethink how they evaluate talent. Every day that passes, the question gets louder. How long can they keep ignoring the guy they once dismissed? Have we ever seen a quarterback flip the narrative like Shedeur Sanders just did? How often do players get counted out because of assumptions or snap judgments? How many times is confidence mistaken for arrogance? And how much potential gets overlooked because of it? Maybe this is that turning point. Maybe those very traits we criticize in young players are actually the ones that turn them into something great. What if Shedeur is exactly the kind of quarterback the league's been missing? What if we're watching the start of something special? So what do you think? Could Shedeur Sanders be the real deal? And what kind of impact will his rise have on the 2025 NFL Draft?
So he says, this is exactly what he says. I'm told the footage of Shedeur Sanders meeting with the Giants is so bad that both the Browns and the Sanders family have threatened legal action if it is
What in the NFL is happening right now? The New York Giants just leaked a draft interview recording with Shedeur Sanders, and fans are completely freaking out. Did Shedeur take some shots? Did the Giants forget what the word confidential means? Or did someone accidentally hit reply all on something that was supposed to stay locked away? Get ready, because this roller coaster involves hot mics, bad takes, and a whole lot of drama.
What happened with Shedeur on draft night to make him fall to the 5th round, and them talking about the Giants coming out with all that information talking about Shedeur did bad, bombed the interview, all that type stuff. We all know my last video when I talked about the interview tape about Shedeur did not get a playbook.
The NY Giants, in true Stonewall fashion, dropped a carefully trimmed clip from their highly sought-after interview with Shedeur Sanders, then quickly locked everything else away like it was top-secret intel. Was this a calculated PR stunt, or just a low-key attempt at sabotage? Either way, the silence speaks louder than any official statement. Fans aren't buying this half-baked version of transparency, and they're definitely not ready to just bench him and move on. Instead, they're demanding answers, calling out the organization for what feels like a planned smear job. One thing's for sure, the hate is loud, but Shedeur's supporters are even louder.
There was another team that he sat down with.
What do you mean it didn't go well after that? So,
he was pissed that they
did that to him.
They did that to him.
He counter-confronted them.
The same thing they do to every other quarterback prospect. They did that to him. They slide in a mistake to see if you catch it.
Right. And so
because you're the quarterback.
But he didn't take it as a correction. He took it as like he got pissed off.
Yeah, and it's like so here's another one. So another one was, he throws a bad interception, and it was a deep throw early in the game, and he comes back and they go in the meeting, they show the interception.
Let's just call it like it is. The Giants have perfected the tease. They've basically turned "we've got more, but we're not sharing it" into a comedy act, and the joke's on them. It's like they're standing center stage, booing themselves. Oh, you want more? Too bad. We're guarding it like Grandma's secret lasagna recipe. Congrats, Giants. You've officially become the talk of TikTok, X, and even Aunt Barbara's Facebook. Yep, the holy trinity of online outrage. This whole thing screams drama, screams petty, and definitely screams PR disaster in a fitted cap. Just release the full tape before fans start pulling up to headquarters with pitchforks. And popcorn.
GM is getting fired. The GM, who was that nigga that Jaden Daniels. The GM is on film that the nigga's son, the nigga asked his son last draft, yo, who you think I should pick? His son like, yo, you need to get the Jaden Daniels nigga, B. This is what his son, it's on tape. You should go with Jaden Daniels. He laughing at his son. And all right, cool, get Jaden Daniels. I don't even know how that tape got out. I wouldn't have let the shit get out personally.
Meanwhile, Shedeur, the latest poster boy for maybe the Giants don't like talent unless it's dressed in blue and red confetti, is soaking it all in like it's just another day at practice. And here's the best part of the irony. The Giants tried to label him as all hype, no substance, a paper tiger. But instead, they accidentally turned him into the hottest name being mentioned by every sports analyst out there. They tried to bury the story, but somehow ended up stamping it in bold. It's the classic case of ignoring a trending conversation for so long that sure, people get annoyed, but at the same time, they keep your name alive better than your own PR team ever could.
It's funny. New York Giants, where these tapes at? You hear me? Because if Shedeur Sanders was so unprofessional, y'all would have leaked the tapes for the whole world could see, right? Cause understand, it's a lot of he say, she say. But one thing I do know, as a young black man growing up in this world, being straightforward and not sugarcoat anything.
Oh, this narrative is pure gold. Giants PR completely skipped subtlety and went straight to the "we don't like his dad" playbook. A move so awkward, it's like trying to dunk and ending up in a kiddie pool. You can almost picture them brainstorming it. Yeah, we're just not fans of QB families that aren't ours. Because nothing screams professionalism quite like having zero self-awareness. And the fan reactions? Absolutely priceless. That one little clip was all it took to set the internet on fire. Keyboards everywhere started lighting up. People are asking, Why hide the good stuff? What are you trying to cover up? If there's really nothing to hide, why not just drop the full thing? And spoiler alert, they weren't whispering. Social media exploded faster than a New York City grill on Memorial Day weekend.
Them out. Another moment. What they do during the film and the combine and the meetings is teams will install mistakes intentionally planted in the install, and they want you to catch them. Shedeur didn't, and when a coach called him out, once again, it didn't sit well. It's like, bro, there's not many teams needing quarterbacks, especially since Pittsburgh appears to have a deal with Aaron Rodgers and Tennessee's getting Cam Ward. So you're down to the Giants, who are not in.
And that brings us to the next tasty slice of irony. By refusing to release the full interview, the New York Giants probably thought they were hurting Shedeur Sanders' image. But instead, they ended up throwing gasoline on the hype train. Rather than shutting things down, they made him look like the kid who grabbed the last cookie and somehow got blamed for taking the whole jar. Only difference? This kid's got cameras on him 24/7, and he's handling the heat like a seasoned pro. Now, every move he makes is being broken down, every throw studied like it's a presidential debate. Fans are calling it what it is. They've lied on Shedeur. Some say the Giants just don't like his dad. And honestly, that might be true. Maybe this whole thing was just a cheap shot at Deion Sanders by extension. But here's the plot twist. The harder they try to drag him down, the more interesting his story gets. The Giants accidentally turned Shedeur into a walking headline, a controversy in cleats. They tried planting doubt, but all they really did was create buzz. He's no longer just a top draft pick. He's now a symbol of resilience, a narrative goldmine, and living proof that real talent doesn't fold under pressure. It levels up. And at this point, even if the Giants wanted to, there's no turning off the spotlight.
Okay, so probably the most fun yet the most difficult thing I cover and we cover all year long is not games. It's the NFL draft. Because I've said this many times, you get lied to for a month to 2 months up to it. And so often during the draft, and every few drafts, there's a guy that really falls, precipitously falls. This year it was Shedeur Sanders, it's been Aaron Rodgers, it's been Dan Marino. Every few years somebody falls a lot. And so, but those stories don't come out until like the fall and after.
Let's not overlook the fact that the hate is so strong, you could bottle it up and sell it as radioactive cologne. You can practically watch it leaking out of Giants HQ like toxic sludge straight out of a bad superhero origin story. But here's the twist. Maybe that's their superpower. Maybe the New York Giants really believe they're cooking up some secret formula, a cocktail of manipulation and media spin. But here's the thing. Every bit of shade they throw at Shedeur Sanders only makes his story bigger. Every time they try to box him in as some overhyped diva or question his character, they accidentally hand him another viral moment. And now, he's the underdog hero rising through the smoke. Let's be real. This isn't just about football anymore. This is about narratives, control, and how the establishment absolutely loses it when they're no longer holding the pen. And the real kicker? They still won't release the full interview. You've got NFL fans, media heads, and entire Reddit threads all chanting, "Drop the tape." Like it's some long-lost Beatles album. Meanwhile, the Giants are just sitting there, staring into the void like nobody saw this mess coming.
Now, I don't know if it ever gonna get leaked or not. The tapes, the New York Giants have the tape. They definitely have the tape. It's confirmation that they have the tape. Shedeur didn't do nothing. It's what they saying he did. I'm gonna tell you what these mixed reaction right here. So we already know about the New York Giants, but the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin reported Miles Sanders' talent, but hesitated to draft him due to previous challenges with quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, leading to more cautious approach. Las Vegas Raiders. Sanders met with Raiders at the NFL Scouting Combine and expressed enthusiasm about potentially joining the team. His familiarity with the West Coast offense and quick release was noted positive, though concerns about his ceiling.
plan to have who will be the emergency quarterback in the game?
Shedeur. Yeah.
Is Dylan Gabriel going to be like second quarter? He's out there because Flacco just needs a minute in the blue tent.
Yeah, that feels likely.
And if it's Shedeur Sanders and he starts balling,
then what?
Everything changes in a bat of an eye.
Yeah.
He's going in there, he's working hard, he's trying to improve every day. He's saying all the right things, trying to elevate his level of play. And remember, up until this past weekend, we did think there was a legitimate argument that he should have been higher on the depth chart than Dylan Gabriel because he performed better against Carolina than Dylan Gabriel had performed in the preseason game against the Eagles. It's just that obviously he nosedived over this last weekend, so the tenor of the conversation changed. He really hasn't done it. I mean, he hasn't gotten in any trouble. I mean, he hasn't been saying the wrong things. He hasn't been a less than a model citizen focused on, being the best that he can be. He hasn't done anything. So I think that when we look at it, he's going in there, he's working hard, he's trying to improve every day.
Kevin Stefanski made it clear that Shedeur Sanders will keep getting opportunities regardless of any new additions, identifying him as the club's emergency option moving forward. That stance set off fresh debate. If the Browns didn't plan to lean on Bailey Zappi, why bring him in at all? Zappi wasn't signed to be the starter. He's roster insurance, a safety net if the season throws a curveball. In practice, this points to Shedeur remaining the next man up at quarterback 1 if circumstances demand it. Cleveland's decision to add Bailey Zappi looks like a depth play, rather than a push to crown a new starter. It's a precaution meant to reduce the risk of getting thin at quarterback over a long season. By signing Zappi, the Browns keep their options open without committing to a full reset at the position. The move isn't about replacing Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. It's about maintaining coverage in case injuries or other issues hit the room. Overall, the message is simple. Shedeur stays in the primary development and contingency lane, while Zappi provides stability and flexibility behind the scenes.
I like the fact that they have him there. I think he'll be good in practice. He'll be good for some of those younger guys in helping them to prepare for a game and whatnot.
The Browns added Bailey Zappi primarily to steady the room and support their young quarterbacks this season. According to Mary Kay Cabot, his day-to-day will center on helping install weekly game plans, getting the QBs ready for opponents, and being prepared to step in if injuries hit. Cabot also noted he could become a quietly valuable piece. At the same time, the move may hint that Dylan Gabriel is drawing trade interest. Several teams are reportedly checking in, especially after Kenny Pickett's recent deal. With Gabriel in the spotlight, speculation is growing that Shedeur Sanders could be only a few games from settling in as the number 2, creating a real opening for him. Stephen A. Smith weighed in as well, emphasizing Sanders' steady climb and the momentum he's built. He argued that even before the latest preseason outing, Sanders had effectively moved ahead of Gabriel on the depth chart. Aside from a brief stumble last week, Smith said, Sanders has kept stacking positives, communicating cleanly with teammates, and staying locked on development. In his view, the Browns recognize Sanders' upside and are banking on continued growth as he evolves into a more impactful presence in the near future.
He really hasn't done it. I mean, he hasn't gotten in any trouble. I mean, he hasn't been saying the wrong things. He hasn't been a less than a model citizen focused on, being the best that he can be. He hasn't done anything. So I think that when we look at it, he's going in there, he's working hard, he's trying to improve every day.
Stephen A. Smith underscored Shedeur Sanders' steady rise, emphasizing the real momentum behind his development. He said that even before the most recent preseason game, it was apparent Sanders had edged ahead of Dylan Gabriel on the depth chart. Smith added that, aside from a brief setback last week, Sanders has remained unbeaten, strengthened his communication with teammates, and is fully locked in on refining his craft. In Smith's view, the Browns clearly recognize Sanders' immense upside and are counting on him to keep growing into a more impactful, commanding presence as time goes on, a trajectory that reflects both his poise and the staff's increasing trust.
Going in there, he's working hard, he's trying to improve every day. He's saying all the right things, trying to elevate his level of play. And remember, up until this past weekend, we did think there was a legitimate argument that he should have been higher on the depth chart than Dylan Gabriel because he performed better against Carolina than Dylan Gabriel had performed in the preseason game against the Eagles. It's just that obviously he nosedived over this last weekend, so the tenor of the conversation changed.
Stephen A. Smith's take lines up with head coach Kevin Stefanski's shifting approach to Shedeur Sanders. Lately, Stefanski has doubled down on developing Sanders and brushed off outside criticism. That's a notable change from earlier, when he downplayed concerns and offered sharper critiques. After the Kenny Pickett trade, the tone flipped. Sanders moved back into the spotlight with a real chance to prove himself. The timing matters, signaling the staff is ready to give him a genuine runway to show his upside.
I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better. And that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important to me.
Several analysts have weighed in on Shedeur Sanders' push for the QB2 job, and many point to Dillon Gabriel's size as a potential long-term hurdle to holding that role. Mike Tannenbaum praised Gabriel's calm, efficient preseason and acknowledged his skill, but he also flagged height as a meaningful disadvantage at the NFL level, one that could make a trade scenario more realistic. Talent and mechanics matter, he noted, yet measurable limitations can be hard to mask over a full season, which might jeopardize Gabriel's grip on the backup spot and prompt teams to explore moves. Nick Wright echoed a similar theme. He credited Gabriel's ability and upside, but didn't sidestep the obvious constraint: size. Wright argued that while Gabriel can sharpen decision-making and accuracy, he can't change his frame, and that physical profile may complicate his path to becoming a steady NFL starter. By contrast, when stacked against Shedeur Sanders, who brings broader physical tools and a higher developmental ceiling, the gap becomes clearer. That comparison highlights the specific challenges Gabriel must overcome, and why momentum may be tilting toward Sanders for the QB2 role.
Gabriel, who through no fault of his own commits one of my cardinal sins of quarterbacking, which is he's tiny. And so, he's tiny.
Mike Florio, senior NFL analyst, weighed in on the Browns' internal debate and suggested the team is seriously considering moving Dillon Gabriel. He cautioned that dealing Gabriel could thin out the quarterback competition, but he also framed it as a strong opening for Shedeur Sanders to step forward. With added reps and visibility, Sanders could make a real impression and lock himself in as a valuable QB2 option for a team that needs stability behind its starter. Florio also noted that after Kenny Pickett's departure, Cleveland may be even more inclined to explore a Gabriel trade. By contrast, Sanders is essentially off-limits in his view because of his massive fan base and the public blowback a trade would trigger. With the conversation getting louder, Florio believes moving Sanders would do more harm than good for the organization's relationship with its supporters. That's why Gabriel stands out as the more likely trade candidate as the Browns try to manage depth, keep momentum, and stay aligned with their fan.
This is one of the natural and foreseeable byproducts of drafting him. He comes to town with a built-in fan base. The mouth breathers, as you call them, are in tow. Not that I called them that, but you called them that.
Yeah,
They're there.
Rich Eisen weighed in on Cleveland's situation, saying that if Dillon Gabriel is moved and Shedeur Sanders slides into the QB2 role, it's likely only a matter of time before he's starting later in the year. Eisen argued that the promotion would give Sanders the runway to cement himself, and he's confident Sanders is on track to become QB1 at some point this season. The momentum is clearly tilting towards Sanders, positioning him to take over when the opportunity presents itself. Big picture, Kevin Stefanski's message that Shedeur Sanders is the next man up if anything happens to Joe Flacco is just one part of a broader shift. Factor in Sanders' steady growth, the coaching staff's evolving view, and the ongoing chatter about Gabriel's future, and it's clear Sanders isn't being framed as a mere emergency option. He's a real contender for QB1. If Gabriel is dealt, that could be the final push that quiets the doubts and locks in Sanders as the Browns' future at the position, signaling a fresh chapter for the team. What's your read on Cleveland leaning towards Shedeur Sanders as a potential QB1? Would a Dillon Gabriel trade seal it? Or do you see a path where Gabriel still takes on a bigger role? How do you expect the battle among Sanders, Gabriel, and Joe Flacco to unfold? And what does it mean for the Browns going forward? Share your take. I'm curious where you land.